Most retirement plans look stable on paper. The numbers add up, the income projections seem reasonable, and on the surface, everything appears to be under control. But, many of those plans rest on a quiet assumption that the money you've saved will continue to buy roughly the same lifestyle year after year. That's where the real issue begins. Inflation rarely arrives as a shock in retirement. It works gradually, almost invisibly, reducing purchasing power a little at a time. Expenses don't spike overnight. They slowly drift higher, while income often stays the same. Over time, this subtle gap compounds, and even well-prepared retirees can find themselves wondering why their money feels tighter, despite careful planning. This issue matters more today because retirement itself has changed. In previous generations, retirement was often shorter. Many people planned for 10 or 15 years, not several decades. Today, a 25 to 35-year retirement is increasingly common. Over that length of time, even modest annual inflation can quietly reshape what a fixed income can support. Inflation today is also less uniform. Some everyday costs, especially healthcare, insurance, housing, and services, tend to rise faster than broad averages. Yet many retirement plans still rely on a single average inflation number, assuming it reflects real household experience. At the same time, much retirement thinking remains anchored in fixed income assumptions, stable payments, predictable expenses, minimal change. But costs are no longer fixed. When variable expenses meet fixed income, the mismatch becomes structural, not temporary. Inflation doesn't usually show up as a drop in account balances. In fact, many retirees see their statements remain steady or even grow modestly and assume their plan is working as intended. The problem is that inflation doesn't attack the number. It erodes what that number can actually buy. Imagine a household living comfortably on a fixed monthly income. Over time, groceries cost a little more. Utilities creep higher. Medical visits, home services, and insurance quietly rise. Nothing dramatic changes in any single year, but the same income now covers fewer goods and services than it once did. This is why many retirees feel poorer despite doing everything right. The dollars look the same, but the lifestyle they support slowly narrows. That gap between nominal money and real living standards is the true cost of inflation. Many retirees rely on income sources designed to feel dependable. Pensions, annuities, and bond-heavy portfolios offer stability and predictability, which is understandably reassuring. However, reliability does not always translate into adequacy over time. Some income sources include cost of living adjustments, but these often lag behind real expenses or only partially reflect rising costs. Others provide no adjustment at all. As a result, income may remain steady while everyday spending quietly increases. This becomes especially visible in areas like healthcare, insurance, and personal services. Categories that tend to inflate faster than broad averages and carry more weight as people age. The result is a slow squeeze. Income arrives on schedule, yet covers less of what retirees actually need. Understanding this distinction is critical. A reliable income stream can still lose effectiveness if it isn't aligned with changing costs. The sequence-risk interaction. The early years of retirement carry more weight than many people realize. Decisions and conditions during this period often shape outcomes decades later. When withdrawals begin, inflation becomes more than just a background issue. Rising costs require larger distributions over time, even if, spending habits remain unchanged. If this happens during a period of lower investment returns, the combination can quietly strain a portfolio. This interaction is known as sequence risk, not because markets fluctuate, but because timing matters. Withdrawals taken early, while assets are under pressure and expenses are rising, have less opportunity to recover. Ironically, this is where many conservative plans encounter trouble. portfolios designed primarily for stability may lack enough flexibility to absorb higher withdrawals during unfavorable conditions. The plan looks cautious, yet becomes fragile when inflation and timing work together. Common retirement planning assumptions that inflation exposes. Inflation has a way of exposing assumptions that feel reasonable at the planning stage, but become fragile over time. One common assumption is that expenses will remain roughly flat in real terms. In practice, spending patterns evolve, and certain costs, particularly healthcare and services, tend to grow as retirement progresses. Another is overconfidence in cash as a source of safety. While cash can reduce short-term volatility, it offers little protection against long-term purchasing power loss. What feels stable today can quietly weaken tomorrow. Many plans also underestimate longevity. A retirement that lasts longer than expected allows compounding cost increases to do far more damage than anticipated. Finally, inflation is often treated as a temporary disruption rather than a structural risk. Planning for averages instead of ranges can leave retirees unprepared for persistent changes in living costs. Beyond the numbers, inflation often affects retirees psychologically. Many people enter retirement with a clear sense of what they can afford. When rising costs force unexpected cutbacks, even small ones, it can create stress and frustration. The change feels personal, especially for those who planned carefully and acted responsibly. Over time, this can lead to a quiet loss of confidence. Retirees may begin questioning decisions that were reasonable at the time, simply because outcomes no longer feel as secure as expected. Unpredictable price changes can also cause decision paralysis. When future costs feel uncertain, spending becomes harder to manage, and even simple choices carry emotional weight. This is why emotional comfort is a legitimate part of retirement planning. Financial stability isn't only about math. It's about preserving clarity, confidence, and peace of mind throughout retirement. Taken together, these realities point to a shift in how retirement decisions are evaluated. Account balances matter, but they are not the goal. What matters more is real income. What your resources can reliably support in terms of day-to-day living over time. A plan that looks strong numerically can still fall short if it doesn't keep pace with rising costs. This also reframes the balance between stability and growth. Stability provides confidence, but measured growth helps maintain purchasing power. The goal is not risk elimination, but risk management across decades. Flexibility becomes a core retirement asset. The ability to adjust spending, timing, or income sources reduces pressure when conditions change. Finally, effective planning prepares for ranges of outcomes rather than a single projection. Resilient plans adapt. They don't depend on everything unfolding exactly as expected. It's important to keep this risk in perspective. Inflation is not an unknowable threat. It is a well-documented, long-term reality that planners and retirees have navigated for generations. While its effects can be subtle, they are neither mysterious nor unmanageable. Historically, sound retirement planning has adapted to changing cost environments by emphasizing balance rather than precision. Plans that allow for adjustment tend to remain durable even when conditions shift. This is where discipline, diversification, and patience play a larger role than exact forecasts. No plan needs to anticipate every outcome. It needs the capacity to absorb change without constant disruption. Ultimately, retirement success isn't about predicting inflation rates or future costs. It's about building resilience. A resilient plan maintains clarity, confidence, and flexibility, even as circumstances evolve over time. Retirement planning works best when it's approached with clarity rather than urgency. The goal isn't to react to every change, but to understand the forces at work and respond thoughtfully over time. This is the perspective behind Retire Secure. The focus is long-term guidance grounded in principles that help retirees navigate uncertainty without unnecessary stress. Inflation, income sustainability, and longevity are challenges, but they are also manageable with the right framework. If you value steady, rational insights into retirement income and long-term planning, consider subscribing to the channel. Each video is designed to help you make informed decisions, maintain perspective, and move through retirement with confidence and peace of mind.